You are born in a courtyard of packed earth under rafters stained with smoke. Winter slips in through the paper windows. The air smells of boiled millet camphor oil and the iron tang of blood. Your mother's fingers, rough from washing other people's clothes, stroke your cheek as if polish could change clay. Your father murmurs that a daughter is a lantern small, but it can still hold a flame. By afternoon, the midwife has already measured you against the world. She weighs your cry, counts your toes, and ties a red thread to your ankle to trick the hungry ghosts. On the wall, a paper charm flutters a black brushstroke demanding fortune to mind its manners. Outside, a rooster turns once in the dust and forgets you. The village doesn't. You grow in the smell of straw mats and vinegar and the hiss of the walk and the slap of wet laundry. In summer, the courtyard bakes to a clay drum. In winter, your breath paints the air and vanishes. Your mother binds your feet, early tight cloth, low sobbing bones taught to obey. Beauty, you learn, is just pain with good posture. When you ask why, she says because doors open for small steps. The first debt comes like nightfall, quiet, obvious, impossible to argue with. A bad harvest, your brother's fever, a moneylender whose ledgers are written in other people's futures. A matchmaker appears with a lacquered smile and a bamboo tally of destinies. Not a wife's destiny. Those are for landowners' daughters with dowries that shine. Yours comes cheaper and faster, a concubine's place in a magistrate's household across the river. The word slips through the room like a blade wrapped in silk. You ride there in a hired cart that smells of old garlic and mule sweat. Your hair is pinned with borrowed jade. The river wind lifts the curtain and shows you reeds bowing the same way people do. The city gates rise, stone teeth swallowing. At the door, a steward counts you without looking. A maid takes your name and replaces it with girl. The wife does not attend. The bed, you discover, is part ceremony, part inventory. Your body is an account settled. Your future, a receipt stamped in red. Congratulations, you are now considered valuable property. You never get to choose what you'll be. Morning begins before light. You wake to the crack of bamboo against stone as servants rinse the courtyard tiles. The air tastes of ash and tea leaves left to dry. A matron with a crescent-shaped scar across her jaw drills you in silence how to kneel without sound, how to smile without teeth, how to swallow your answers whole. They teach you the architecture of submission, how to move through a room as if through incense smoke, barely disturbing the air. You learn the rhythm of other women's footsteps, the order of bows, the hierarchy of sleeves. Each gesture becomes a script written on your bones. Your body changes to fit the palace. Rice bowls shrink, collars tighten, your breath shortens to polite sighs. You walk on your bound feet until your arches feel like glass. The pain becomes background noise like the clatter of porcelain or the whine of cicadas. You stop noticing which hurts belong to you. At night, you practice in the mirror made of polished bronze. The reflection blurs your face into something almost noble. The matron corrects your posture, your laughter, your fear. Don't look at him, she says, look near him. You learn the mathematics of gaze, how to appear attentive, but never challenging. There are others, dozens of them, girls with moon-white faces painted into identical masks. You trade whispers about whose turn it is, whose favor rises, whose perfume lingers longest in the emperor's sleeve. You learn that friendship here is made of silk, beautiful thin and easy to tear. Once a month, an older eunuch inspects your skin under lamplight, noting bruises, blemishes, and the freshness of youth as if auditing produce. You stand motionless while ink scratches across parchment. When he's done, he nods satisfied and leaves without looking up. The lessons never end. You're taught calligraphy not to express thought but to make it beautiful. Music not to create joy but to decorate silence. You recite poetry about mountains you'll never see, rivers, you'll never cross, husbands you'll never have. Some nights you lie awake counting the ceiling beams. You wonder if anyone remembers your real name. You realize that the palace smells the same, whether someone lives or dies, sandalwood wax and absence. The conditioning works. One morning, you bow before the mistress of the household and feel nothing. Your body moves with grace, born of repetition, your mind trimmed into obedience. You've become what they wanted, a whisper dressed in silk, perfectly trained to disappear. You rise with the rank of perfume. Subtle, unseen, but powerful enough to change the air. Somewhere in the hierarchy of favors and tea leaves, your name no longer your real one has reached the inner court. Now, you are summoned more often. Your robes are heavier, your paint finer, your fear quieter. You learn to read the emperor's moods the way others read scripture, a raised eyebrow, a pause before lifting the cup, the distance between his laughter and his eyes. You become fluent in silence. When he calls attendants, line the corridor like shadows. Lanterns glow through gauze and the scent of orchid powder follows you like a rumor. The floor is cold beneath your feet, but you walk. Steady pain has long been your training ground. Inside, his words are gentle, his hands practiced. You close your eyes and let ritual take its course. He murmurs something about loyalty and fate. You nod. What else can you do? Afterward, you are carried back in a palanquin padded with silk past women who count your return as an omen of their own extinction. Some smile too brightly. Others forget to breathe. In this place, jealousy is a kind of weather. Everyone feels it, but no one names it. Days become months. You are assigned servants of your own, a room facing the lake, embroidered cushions filled with crushed magnolia petals. They call it privilege. It feels like a softer cage. Your handwriting now appears on gifts to foreign envoys. Your perfume becomes a trend within the harem. The eunuchs bow deeper, the maids whisper your title as though it were prayer. You have power, thin, invisible, conditional. The kind that evaporates when you age or when someone younger smiles. At night you dream of the courtyard where you were born. The sound of your mother wringing water from cloth. The faint ache of your real name tugging at the edge of memory. One morning, you catch your reflection in the bronze mirror painted face-hollow eyes. Shoulders that remember every bow. You realize you have mastered this life. But mastery here means perfection in surrender. You are an artist of obedience sculpted by survival. You are flawless and utterly owned. Time changes its rhythm in the palace. Seasons pass, but you see them only through carved latticework. Spring as a scent of plum blossoms carried by wind. Summer as sweat trapped under silk. Autumn as the sound of rain on tile. And winter as the creak of cold porcelain when you kneel too long. You are no longer summoned as often. New girls arrive, chosen for their unspoiled beauty and their ignorance of fear. Their laughter is louder, their footsteps lighter. You watch them rehearse the same bows you once perfected, each movement like an echo returning to haunt you. The emperor grows older, distracted by state affairs or perhaps by boredom. The women closest to him become mirrors for his decay, paint-cracking smiles rehearsed too long. You learn that even favor has an expiration date. Your body begins to betray you. The rouge can no longer hide the shadows beneath your eyes. The matron measures your waist for new robes and clicks her tongue. Less silk next time, she says softly, as if pity were a mercy. The servants grow less careful with your name. The eunuch who once bowed now simply nods. Your chamber grows quieter. The brazier burns low. You begin to notice things you once ignored: the dust on the window frame, the crack in the teacup, the moths that die beautifully against the flame. Outside, rumors drift in from beyond the palace walls, reforms, rebellions, western ships in the southern ports. The empire trembles, but the harem remains frozen in ritual like insects trapped in amber. You are part of a world that refuses to admit it is ending. Then, one morning, the summons stops altogether. No word, no explanation. Just absence. You sit by the lake where lotus flowers bloom and rot in the same water. You remember the first time you saw this place, how bright it seemed, how endless. Now it feels smaller than your breath. A new favorite rises. Her laughter echoes through the same halls where yours once did. She wears your color, your perfume, even your trained half-smile. Watching her, you understand the true cruelty of the system. It doesn't kill you, it replaces you. You are moved to a quieter wing of the palace among the retired women, those who once mattered and now exist only to fade politely. You share tea with them and talk about the weather, never the past. The silence between sentences grows longer every day. Your dignity doesn't vanish all at once. It erodes softly, invisibly, like ink washed from silk. You realize the empire isn't the only thing aging. It's you dissolving inside it. One evening, you light a single candle and watch the wax collapse in slow motion. You whisper a name that no longer belongs to you and wait for the echo that never comes. Years pass like smoke, visible only when caught by light. You are still alive, though you wonder if that word means what it once did. The palace that once gleamed now hums with rust. The lacquered gates have dulled the gold leaf on the dragon's scales flakes into dust. You live in the West Wing where forgotten women go to practice invisibility. The attendants change every few years. Some are kind, others indifferent. They all treat you like a story they've half heard and already forgotten. You once ornament to power, now tend a small garden of chrysanthemums behind your quarters. Their stems are brittle, their color persistent. You like them because they bloom in cold. Sometimes the younger concubines visit out of curiosity. They bow too deeply, speak too softly, eager to please the ghost of what they might become. You offer them tea smile without bitterness and tell them to keep their hearts light, though you know that's impossible. They thank you then, hurry back toward the noise of favor. In the evenings you listen to the court musicians from afar. The melodies sound slower now, like the empire itself is sighing. You no longer wear makeup. The bronze mirror has grown cloudy, and so have you. One night, word reaches you that the emperor is ill. Bells toll across the compound. Courtiers whisper behind sleeves. You feel nothing. No hatred, no grief. Just the quiet realization that the man who once decided the rhythm of your life will soon be reduced to ash and legend. When he dies, the palace seals itself in mourning. For 49 days, colors vanish, laughter is forbidden. You light incense and bow 3 times, not for love, but for closure. The smoke coils upward and disappears like every name you've ever had. After that, the court changes. The new reign begins with promises of reform, of modernity, of forgetting what came before. One morning, a clerk arrives with a scroll of decrees. The old concubines are to be released from the palace. Released, an elegant word for exile. They give you a small stipend, a new set of plain clothes, and a letter of permission to exist outside the walls. The sun blinds you as you step through the gate. You smell the city again, sweat, sesame oil, horse dung, life. For a moment, you stand there uncertain what freedom means when you've forgotten how to want. You rent a small room above a tailor's shop. Children run in the alley below, shouting, laughing. Sometimes you imagine one of them with your eyes. Sometimes you imagine nothing at all. Years later, you die in that same room quietly like a candle burning out in daylight. No one writes your name in the chronicles. No one remembers the girl from the river or the woman in silk. But perhaps memory isn't the only measure of worth. Because even in silence, you carried history inside you, the weight of a world built on women's backs, the elegance of endurance mistaken for grace. You were born to serve, trained to please, perfected to vanish. You were born, human, lived property, and died forgotten, but not meaningless. If this story moved, you share it. Because every forgotten life deserves to be remembered.